Imagine two men. One is a high-flying, Harvard-educated finance executive. He's brilliant, aggressive, and spends money like it's going out of style. The other is a quiet janitor from Vermont named Ronald Read. Ronald lived a simple life, fixed cars, and swept floors. When the executive went bankrupt during the 2008 crash, losing everything, Ronald Read passed away with over $8 million in the bank. He didn't win the lottery. He just knew something about money that most geniuses don't. The truth is, doing well with money has very little to do with how smart you are, and a lot to do with how you behave. By the end of our conversation today, you're going to stop seeing your bank account as a math problem to be solved and start seeing it as a psychological game you can actually win. If you've ever felt like you're working hard but getting nowhere, you're about to find out why. This is the central theme of The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. It's one of those rare books that doesn't care about spreadsheets or stock tips. It cares about you, your ego, your fears, and your weird relationship with those numbers on your screen. It's become a modern classic because it finally explains why smart people do dumb things with their cash. Idea 1. Luck and risk, the humility factor. We tend to look at billionaires and think, if I just work that hard, I'll get there. But we rarely talk about the invisible hand of luck. Take Bill Gates. He went to one of the only high schools in the entire world that had a computer in 1968. That's a 1 in a million chance. On the flip side, we judge people who fail as being lazy, ignoring that they might have just been on the wrong side of a global risk they couldn't control. If you've ever felt like a failure because a business didn't work out or an investment soured, you're not alone. Sometimes you did everything right and the world just shifted. The practical shift here is to stop obsessing over specific success stories and look for broad patterns instead. Don't try to be the next Bill Gates. Try to build a life that can survive a bit of bad luck. Humility when things go well and forgiveness when they don't. That's the real secret to staying sane. Idea 2. Moving the goalposts, the enough problem. There's a specific kind of internal torture that happens when your income goes up, but your expectations go up even faster. You get a raise, you buy a better car. You get a bonus, you want a bigger house. The goalposts keep moving, which means you're always behind, no matter how much you make. Think about a professional athlete who has $10 million but feels poor because his teammate has $20 million. It sounds crazy, but we all do it on a smaller scale. If you feel like you're constantly chasing a finish line that refuses to stay still, you're not alone. The hardest financial skill is getting the goalposts to stop moving. Practically speaking, you need to define what enough looks like for you before you reach it. Happiness, as it turns out, is just results minus expectations. If your expectations are infinite, your happiness will always be zero. Idea 3. The silent power of staying. Compounding. We've all heard of Warren Buffett. People obsess over his investment strategy, but they miss the most important detail. He started investing when he was 10 years old. Over 90% of his wealth came after his 65th birthday. His secret isn't being a genius, it's just not stopping for 3/4 of a century. Think of it like an ice age. It's not caused by a record-breaking cold winter. It's caused by a slightly cool summer where the snow from the previous year simply doesn't melt. It builds up layer by layer until a continent is covered. If you're frustrated because your savings account looks small today, remember that the biggest gains are always back-heavy. The most practical thing you can do isn't finding the best investment, it's finding a strategy you can stick with for the longest period of time. Don't interrupt the process. Idea 4. The dividend of freedom, the real value of money. The highest form of wealth isn't a Ferrari or a luxury watch. It's the ability to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. That is the dividend money pays you. Imagine two people. One makes $200K a year but has a job they hate and no control over their schedule. The other makes $60K but has enough saved to take 6 months off if they want to, or to choose who they work with. Who is actually wealthier? If you've ever felt trapped in a high-paying job that makes you miserable, you know that a big salary is just a gilded cage if it doesn't buy you time. The practical move here is to stop saving for stuff and start saving for options. Use your money to buy back your clock. That is the only thing that truly makes people happier. Idea 5. Reasonable versus rational. The sleep test. Financial experts often tell you to be cold and rational, to follow the math perfectly. But we aren't spreadsheets. We're emotional, tired, and sometimes scared human beings. Being rational might mean keeping your money in the stock market during a crash because the math says so. But being reasonable might mean selling a little bit so you can actually sleep at night. If you've ever made a financial decision that didn't make mathematical sense but made you feel safe, you're not alone. And honestly, that's okay. A perfect plan that you abandon because it's too stressful is worse than a good enough plan that you can stick with through the storms. Your goal shouldn't be to maximize every penny. It should be to remain socially and emotionally sane. If a decision helps you sleep, it's usually the right one for you. At the end of the day, money is less about finance and more about behavior. Ronald Read, our janitor friend, won because he had patience and discipline. The tech executive lost because he had ego and greed. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep, how much peace of mind you have, and how much control you have over your time. I want to leave you with one question. What's one irrational financial habit you have that actually makes you feel safe? Maybe it's a big cash cushion that earns no interest, or paying off a low-interest mortgage early just to feel free. Share it in the comments. I'd love to see how we all navigate this weird psychological game differently. And if you're looking to keep refining how you think instead of just what you know, you're in the right place. I'll see you in the next one.